Hello, everyone. How are you? Well, just like every Thursday, we are bringing you Notary Gems exclusive to this room, exclusive to this platform, and we are super excited. We have a special guest today that's really going to talk about something so crucial in the notary industry: healthcare. The top five healthcare programs that are available for independent contractors, right? Us, right? So it's not often that it's been seen of just this conversation. And I think it's so important for us to really get together, really to understand it, because guess what? November the 1st is coming. And when November the 1st comes, it's it's literally open enrollment. So, because of the fact that it's open enrollment, it's very important for us to get our books in order. In other words, what type of programs are out there? How are they going to protect us? What are kind of the pricings to do your research? So you know, it only lasts for about 2.5 months, the open enrollment period, from November the 1st to about January the 15th. This is very, very crucial because in order for you to add another program or a healthcare group into your business, you have to have a special circumstance. Some of these special circumstances, you relocating, you're getting married, so it's very important we always talk about how to make the money, right? How to make the money. It's easy to make the money. We talk a little bit about managing the money, but let's really talk about taking care of us. Because if we don't take care of us, we can't make no money. We can't have cash flow. We can't have any of these different things. So I brought in my favorite person. Okay, I typically call her the Judge Judy of Notary, right? She do not play, and that is a compliment. Okay, because it's not that many people I look up to, and Miss Laura is someone I totally look up to in this field, right? I don't know everything, but I know her 20 plus years of experience being a notary. She got it going on. Okay. So, Miss Laura, I welcome you to our audience. And let's just kind of give them an overview of just why it's so important to talk about it. And then go from like the top five, different programs that are out there, like we talked about before. And
Yeah,
then I can talk about like the tax forms
right.
that associate with that. So, I think that's a good lead. So, tell us a little bit about your personal story, how long you've been an entrepreneur, and
Sure.
why this topic is so important.
So thanks first for inviting me to speak with you about this because I do think it's important. We're kind of out there on our own, really, with nobody protecting us. And so we need to make sure we take steps to protect ourselves, our health, and rather than wait till something goes wrong and we end up in an ER room with a bunch of other sick people, right? That may be sicker than we are. So I have been on top of this since 2001 because that's when I left uh, working full time as a vice president for a corporate nonprofit company and decided I was going to have my own destiny. And my first business was a facility for elderly. But while I had it, I became a notary. And one of the things I found out right away when I left my job was there are certain benefits I no longer enjoyed. So nobody was putting away retirement for me. Nobody was taking care of making sure I had health care insurance. I did have the Cobra for about, I think you could have it up to 18 months, but I had it for about 6 months while I was figuring it out. Um, and nobody was making sure I knew how to manage, this new world I stepped into because not only was I the service provider, but I was the bookkeeper and I was the marketing agent, and I'm the person developing the copy for the ads, and I'm doing everything. And so when we're doing all the front stuff like that for our business, it's kind of easy to forget that we need to take care of making sure we have what's available, a safety net around us. So when I worked full time, I had healthcare benefits, dental, vision, medical. I had a pre-tax dollar health reimbursement plan. Really, I just I had a great plan. And that was the thing you need to consider when you decide to step off the edge to become an entrepreneur. So here are some different things. I've gone through most of them myself to make sure that at that time I had young children too. I had young children and a spouse. Now my children are married and they got to deal with their own health insurance, but I still have a spouse. So I started with my husband is also self-employed. He's a contractor and he's a sole proprietor. And so he was able to count, and I do his books, so I'm his bookkeeper. So I'm the one employee that he has. And Kaiser said, we'll treat you as a group.
You his bookkeeper? See, I told you guys, she got it going on.
So there you are. There was the first level, the easy, low-hanging fruit. That was kind of all there was, really, back 20 years ago when I started. And so that helped me be able to have some basic healthcare coverage. Now, it wasn't great because I had like it was a 20%, it was a percentage. It wasn't like a flat copay. So when my younger son became very ill, hospitalized for months on end, 6 surgeries in 6 months, we're talking my piece of it was thousands, about $12,000-$15,000 out of my pocket. And so that was like tough because what Kaiser said is, well, you got to pay it. I said, well, I can't, I don't have that kind of money. I mean, my God, my husband's a sole proprietor. I'm just a notary. What do you want from me? And I set up payment arrangements and I paid like $300 a month every month until it was paid off. And it took me a couple of years, but I paid it on top of the monthly premium for the healthcare, which was around $1,200-$1,300 a month 20 years ago. So it was a pretty big amount of money going out to keep my health insurance plus pay my part of a major, catastrophe. So that's where I started. Then I started to find out there were some other options for us. One is when I decided to let go of my facility and just be a notary, that was going to be my full-time business. I did that for about 2 years when I was introduced to the NNA. And I went to a conference in 2005. There were 2,000 NSAs. I mean, we're talking 2,000 people at this conference. This is before the market blew, right? So it was at the height of everybody was doing this. And I found out, oh, there's a lot more going on than what I thought. And my last night there, I happened to sit at the gala dinner. I was late into the room and I just picked one at the back of the room. And who was sitting there? NNA employees, the staff. And by the end of the night, they said, we're looking for independent contractors to teach in California the mandated training. Would you be interested? You'd have to come down to Southern California and interview for a few days. And all of that's all on your own dime. But if you're interested, reach out to this person. So I did. Long story short, I was hired. And starting in 2006, I started teaching for the NNA as an independent contractor. So I wasn't an employee. I was still dealing with my own health insurance. And it was costing so much that when the NNA changed and said, look, we can't do independent contractors unless you teach this stuff on your own. We're going to have to treat you as a W-2, an employee. Are you willing to change? And I said, okay, because I knew I was one step closer to some benefits again, right? It wasn't full time. It was just part time. And then I went until 2010 that way. And so being an employee part-time, I got like retirement and I got some prorated vacation time. I got some things, but it wasn't until 2010 when I went full-time that all of a sudden now I had all the other benefits back. Man, so that was like almost 10 years that I didn't have all that other stuff. And in the meantime, I am always looking what else is available. And so what I found is because I was an employee for my husband doing his books, right? I did it part-time for him. I could get healthcare reimbursement for all my out-of-pocket expenses. So that could be your healthcare premiums, that can be your copay, that can be over the counter that is for a prescribed healthcare matter.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, like I get baby aspirin, low dose aspirin, I have AFib. And so I have a condition that says I got to take that every day, but it's over the counter. But I can write that off and get reimbursement through my husband's company, even though it's over the counter. And a lot of people don't know that. Some over the counter works great for that, and some doesn't. So anyways, I went to BASE and BASE.com, and they're for sole proprietors. And they said, look, if you're the employee of your husband's sole proprietor business, you can submit expenses, medical expenses, just submit all your receipts every month, and his business can reimburse you for all of that. Long-term care insurance, life insurance. I mean, we're talking some big bills here. Because we probably had around anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 minimum. For a couple of years, it was 7,000 or 8,000 in medical expenses out of pocket. And so what's different about this plan for sole proprietor than, say, a W-2 job is that I don't have to pre-fund the money. So if anybody works as an employee for a company and they have a reimbursement plan, they have some of their money taken out of their check every pay period to fund this little account that then you submit receipts and get money back out of that account. And the benefit of pre-funding it is they use pre-tax dollars to do that. Well, when you're a sole proprietor, you don't have that.
That is true.
Right? You don't have that option. So I was taking all of the healthcare insurance premiums because they were all after tax dollars that we were using to pay for it, and then submitting it to my husband's business, and it was a tax write-off. And when you're married, it's up to $10,000.
Yeah,
you can write off your business, and if you're single, it's $5,000. So that's kind of what we did. And then when the NNA said, okay, you can have health benefits, but our health benefits are pre-tax dollars, I said, oh, okay, so now I cannot submit my healthcare premium to the reimbursement plan because they've already given me pre-tax dollars. I've already dipped once. I can't double dip on the same benefit. But I still have long-term care insurance. I still have co-pays for Kaiser. I still have dental expenses, vision expenses. I still have lots of medical related expenses up to $10,000 that I could submit, and I don't have to pre-fund it. So what's nice is when I get the expense, then in the next payroll period, I reimburse myself for that expense. I submit the receipt in through the platform, Basis platform, and I write myself a check back to myself for that amount. So I don't have to have any money coming out up front. That's W-2. That's how they work. You pre-fund it. But when you're a sole proprietor with this particular HSA, I want to say it's code 179. That's the number that sticks in my head. Then I don't have to do that. So the combination of having some health care and then having reimbursement from my husband's business because I was an employee helped us balance out the cost of health care. So it's just really important that you investigate. And there's some other options for you. Maybe your spouse is not sole proprietor, or maybe it's just you and you're a sole proprietor. Actually, now they have allowed, I know Kaiser does it, there may be others that allow you to count yourself as your employee, even when you're a sole proprietor. And by doing that, you can get group healthcare, which means you're not treated as an individual. You get the same rate that another small group, say up to 100 employees, you would be in that group and you would get that rate, not the I'm a only person rate, right? So it's a little bit better rate when you have group rate. So that's another option for you. Another option, of course, we didn't have this when I started, and that is the Affordable Care Act. So out in the marketplace,
everybody waiting for that, Miss Laura. Yeah. The Affordable Care Act, and how does it work? So yes,
uh,
I'm all ears.
you're all ears. So I don't use it myself because I have the health insurance, but my kids who are adults, they both use it. And so they go on to the California marketplace because we're in California. I don't know what the website is for the federal one. And you put in how much money you think you're going to make. And they then calculate how much they'll subsidize, the Affordable Care Act will subsidize for you, and then how much you're actually going to pay, what it's going to cost you monthly for a premium. And then you can check out, probably a dozen different healthcare plans, right? It could be Blue Cross, it could be Kaiser, it could be any of them that participate, and most of them do. And then you'd say, so it's going to cost, let's say it's going to cost $1,200 a month, but I'm only going to pay $250 a month. That's going to be my piece. And the government's going to subsidize the balance every month based on the type of plan, whether I do copay or it's a percentage, whether it's a single person or a family, that all impacts into what your piece is going to be. So the Affordable Health Care Act has allowed sole proprietors, people who are under or not insured at all, have access to that. Now, here's the important thing to know is that if you don't have health insurance and you don't participate in some way of getting it, either through the Affordable Health Care Act or some other program, there are penalties. You know, the government on one hand says, let us be generous and help you. And on the other hand, they slap you upside the head and say, if you're not going to participate, penalty for you. And so when you go to file your tax return, and that's where you can talk about that, there's a penalty for not having health insurance. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. So it's called the 1095. It's a B, and a C. Depending on what type of policy that we're talking about, there's different ones. So you can be penalized. Since Obamacare has been in act, you can be penalized as an independent contractor or even as a W-2 if you do not take care of it. If you do not have full care health insurance for an entire 12 months, you will be penalized per month from the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, right? So it's very important, as we already know that we get penalized a lot just when it comes to just paying our self-employment tax of 15.3%. It's enough that we need to get penalized. So I always teach, do things right. Right. So if the federal government is telling you that you need health insurance, and as a business owner, we need health insurance because no one is looking out for ourselves. That's why it's so important for us to have this discussion of just what type of health insurance that you need to enroll into for November the 1st. So it's very important, just like any other tax form that you have, the 1095 A, B, or C is what they provide to you, and is an IRS tax form only for health care, right? That tells you if you've been having health care from January all the way until December. And if you're not, then you're subject to a penalty, and it is a fine.
It is. And so some are choosing to say, well, the fine is still less than the carrying the health care, but it's not a good strategy because you know what? That may be so, but if something catastrophic happens to you and you are the business, you're not in business anymore, right? If you get COVID, if something happens and you're hospitalized or you're unable to work for 2 weeks, a month, there's no money coming in, right? Plus you have medical bills that are going to start piling up. Plus you have the fine, right? So it's just not a good strategy to do that because you really need to plan for yourself and for your family to have that. And there is yet another possibility. So there are what are called, they're groups. I can't think of the name. It'll come back to me. But there are groups, memberships, and they may provide, because the group is big enough, affinity groups, that's what you call them, affinity groups. And so they're all like types of people who are part of this group. And then that group says, we'll go negotiate for healthcare insurance for our members. Right now, one of the ones that I checked out, I didn't need it myself. It was just better to go the way I was. It's called the Freelancers Union.
Oh my God, that is a secret notary gem, you guys. She's about to break this down. And this is one of the ones that you should look into before you sign up for the Affordable Care Act. do your due diligence. Search for this one, search for that one, and then compare the difference to see which one is best for you. So, Miss Laura, this is the icing on the cake number 4. Go ahead.
So freelancers union are attorneys and freelance writers, there's notaries, but what's all in common is that we're freelancers, right? We're sole proprietorships. And so it's free to be a member of that. And they write articles and they help you figure out what happens when you don't get paid, and contracts, and just all kinds of assistance to freelancers. And one of the things they started back in 2000, I think it was 17, was a health, dental, vision benefits for their members. And it works similar to the Affordable Care Act in that they'll say, okay, here's all the people who participate, choose a plan, and then our discounted rate as a group is going to be this much as your premium, right? So depending on whether you're one person or just married or with a family, Affordable Health Care Act may be cheaper for you, or one of these groups. Now, I just named one group. There's other groups that are likely out there, but this one embrace notaries as self-employed contractors, like the attorneys and like the writers that are out there kind of on their own. So you might want to check them out. I'll repeat again, the healthcare reimbursement was base.com. That both of those can be really helpful to people like us who are in business for ourselves and don't have healthcare and don't want to negotiate a group plan for a group of one. Now, here's what's important for you to know. You can get individual health care, not through your business. You can just get individual, but you can be rated higher premiums when you have, big healthcare conditions. They can't deny you. They have to take you with pre-existing conditions, but you're going to pay more money for your premium. When you're in a group, then it's based on the size of the group, not the people in the group. Right? So all the groups that are size 100 employees are paying that same rate. It doesn't matter if one of those people has cancer or one of those people have some other life-threatening illness that means they go through hundreds of thousands of dollars for that insurance company. It's a group, and that's how they're rated. When you're an individual, now they check out your health care and they look to see what you're going to cost, and you may pay more when you do individual than when you do group through a business. So use your business to get a better rate.
Yes. And I can't tell you how much great things that I have just over the last couple days heard great things about freelance union. Like the fact that just being a part of this union is not deemed as a real union,
That's
but
not a
they
union.
use the word union. It's free, right? And it has so much like discounts, like AAA discounts and just different things as a union. Attorneys are part of this. That's why one of the things that they did, because attorneys are independent contractors. They may have their own firm, but they're just like us, like notaries. They're independent contractors.
Right. LDAs are in there too, which are legal document assistants or paralegals, because they set up their own shops as well, independent of an attorney. So there are lots of people out there who, they call it a gig economy, but I call it a skill economy, right? You got a skill, you can sell it, you're out there, right? Doing your business. And of course, I do want to mention that there's a lot of notaries where the notary part is still the side hustle, right? They've got a W-2 and they just have health insurance. And one of the reasons they don't leave the job is the health insurance, right? They don't want to leave because it means, well, who's going to put in for my retirement? And how am I going to handle all this extra premium because my company pays for half of that, or some companies pay for more than half of that. So that sometimes is the big barrier to self-employment, is the health insurance. And of course, you know what, when you start getting on, and I'm not going to say that I'm old, but I will say that I'm on that
more adult.
I'm a more experienced, seasoned notary, meaning I only have 3 or 4 years to go until I reach Medicare. So there are a lot of notaries out there, So this is number 5. There are a lot of notaries out there who might already have Medicare or are going to qualify for Medicare. You apply for it, I think, the year before, and you get it on your 65th birthday. Doesn't mean you're retired. It just means that you get the nationalized healthcare system, very similar to the Affordable Care Act. And so something you pay for whatever that premium is under the Medicare plan, and you have to, choose. And since I haven't had to do that yet, I've still got 3 or 4 years to go. 4 years to go before I get there. But that would be my next thing, is once my husband hits 65, he'll get there first. Then I don't need to have him on my plan. He'll have the Medicare plan. And that means my rate is going to go down, because now I'm just one person. Right. And then a year later, when I hit 65, then I'll do the Medicare plan and I won't have to carry separate health insurance. So for those of you who are in your 60s or 65 and older, you may be getting your healthcare benefits taken care of through that process and don't need to worry about signing up for healthcare.
No, that is definitely beautiful as just number 5. So we just went over literally the top 5 different groups that there are for notaries specifically when it comes to health insurance. If you're just joining us right now, we've stressed the importance of this, okay? Come November the 1st, that's when open enrollment happens for healthcare providers, okay? For anyone that is a citizen to have healthcare insurance, right? So it's very important for you to go back, re-look at this video, go and walk through and understand the 5 different categories that we just kind of broke down in an easy way to just kind of get the basics. We're not going to go over everything. We just kind of gave you a couple different groups that are out there that is things to look into. Even when it comes to AFLAC for supplemental insurance, right? Physician mutual, I personally have that for additional. So for example, I may have my own health care, right? But when it comes to the additional, I go to the dentist. Right? And certain things are not paid for, right? Well, if I pay for it out of pocket, I can send it over to Physician Mutual and they will reimburse me, right? Let's just say that my deductible is not all paid out, right? So therefore, I need a supplemental plan to assist with that, getting an implant, right? Those are some of the things that we need to think about, right? Because I know that if you have a root canal, you have a problem with your teeth, I know you're not going to go into the The first place you're going to is the ER or the dentist, right? We don't play with certain things, and that is health, right? So health is so important. We know that we have not really talked about this a lot, and I was able to bring in Ms. Laura, who is just very experienced when it comes to just what is out there, what is available for us, right? So please send other people to this video to come in and watch, because it's just a lot of notary gems that we drop. Miss Laura, if you have a couple minutes, we have a couple Q&As that a couple people put, and I just wanted to address them. Okay, I'm going to put it on the screen. So one of them was a comment or a statement. It says some states, particularly in exchange, should have a marketplace. If the state doesn't have use of federal marketplace, also credible coverage is key, meaning that insurance cannot offer anything less than the ACA offer, otherwise penalized. So that was from someone that just, I guess, made a comment.
And California is like that. California has their own California marketplace. Right. So we're a state that has our own exchange going on. So I think that's what she's describing. But other states may use the federal, the bigger one.
Right.
That's why it's so important. I mean, just like when I talk about knowing your state laws regarding notary laws, you need to know what is available to you and then what's the best choice for you, because it's going to be different based on the state you lived in, based on if you're single or married and or have children, based on any pre-existing health conditions that you may have. There's a lot of things to consider. So all I think we wanted to do was say, look, did you know that there's these different options? You might have a W-2 job and you're getting it taken care of and you're doing the side hustle with the notary, so you don't need it. Or your spouse is carrying the insurance in his W-2 job. Or you're 65 or older and Medicare is taking care of it. But what about everybody in the middle, right? Okay, I don't have a W-2 job. Then what else is available? And I'm under 65. Look at affinity groups to see if you might be able to join one, like Freelancers Union, to see if that's a way to access it. Look at supplemental plans like AFLAC and Physicians Mutual. Look at the like base reimbursement, where you don't have to pre-fund anything. You just submit the receipts to the bookkeeper of your company. Now, the only caveat I want to mention about that is that if you do it for one employee, you can't do it for one and not everybody else. So if you're an employer for 5 or 6, then you have to offer that to everybody. For me, my husband only has 1 employee or 2, myself and our son. So we give him the same benefit. We reimburse him all of his out-of-pocket, everything, his life insurance premiums, all of that. We do it through my husband's business because he works for my husband. And then, of course, we do our own because I work 10 hours a week. That's the minimum number, 10 hours a week, helping my husband with paying his bills online and taking care of all the data entry in QuickBooks and all that other stuff. And then, we get all of that benefit as well. So those are the other ones that, let me see if I missed anything that I said. And of course, the Affordable Care Act or the market exchange, depending on what your state does. These are all different things. Oh, and you could try to get a group rate yourself as a sole proprietor.
Right. I know when it comes to certain different things, they want like 10 or 15, but certain places only allow 1, and they did. But the bigger the group is, the bigger the discount, right? So if you ever thought about having a signing service, you ever thought about having, next level of just improving, or just a boutique, team of notaries, this is something maybe to opt into, right? And speak to them together as a conglomerate. So I just wanted to say thank you, Miss Laura. That was so informative. We have a lot of people are saying thank you so much, Miss Laura. It's great information. It's so true. Like, this is needed in the notary community. And it's just amazing platform that we're able to come together, collaborate. I know you have your own platform. Tell people a little bit about how they can find you, and also what can you offer to the notary community.
So you're going to find me on Clubhouse on various rooms. You're going to find me on TNT every Tuesday at noon California time with Bill Soroka, co-hosting Tuesday Notary Titans, where we do free coaching for an hour every single week. And we've been doing that for over 3 years. You will find me on my own website, coachmelaura.com. That's where you can see where some of the coaching options I have available and training I have available. Particularly, I lean towards specialty work. Some of you know that as general work. Really, the difference is that I don't just cast a net and say, well, whoever falls in there, one-offs, I'll take care of that in between loan signings. My specialty work has just as much or more of my attention as loan signings do, because loan signings, in my opinion, are only one specialty, and there's lots of other ones available to us. And then finally, you might find me on notarysymposium.com. And Notary Symposium, which is coming November 5th and 6th, Friday night, there's a kickoff party, and we're going to make sure we're all connected. And then Saturday, all day, we got speakers, we got prizes, we've got networking in smaller groups. There's over 400 representing 36 different states right now that will be together. So we are excited. It's the 6th year that we have done this. The first years were in person in California, and then we went virtual when COVID hit. So you know what? Everybody has to pivot. It doesn't matter, what you try to do when things happen. Be grateful for the obstacles that are placed in our way, because they're opportunities for growth. And I went from 100 people, because that's all I could fit in the room for in person where I was, to 400. And I was able to go beyond California and include people from all 50 states and include speakers from all 50 states. So in any case, if you've already registered, great. If you were one of the first 250 that registered, then a welcome box went out this week and is arriving wherever you told us your address is, with lots of little goodies for you. So there you go.
Oh my God, that is nothing but amazing. I actually received my ticket. I wasn't one of the first 150, but I will be there before you close and sell out. So I'm super excited with that to say. And I just wanted to bring to the table, everyone, that talking about conferences, we have the Ultimate Notary Conference, June the 18th and the 19th of 2022. I'm actually flew in from California to Virginia. I'm currently in Virginia right now. And I was able to do sign over, me, my corporate planners, all of that, who's working behind the scene to make this thing become fantastic. Okay. So this will be a live conference. It is Ultimate Notary Conference, June the 18th, 2022. And if you haven't got your tickets, please go to ultimatenotaryconference.com. Ms. Laura, thank you so much on a Thursday afternoon to come and just take the time out to tell us. You are so busy, like all those different platforms that you just talked about. You are just sharing the love, and we just have to love you back. So definitely thank you so much. And until next time. And if you missed the Fidelity Approved, Miss Laura was just with us not too many days ago or weeks ago talking about Fidelity Approved process. So if you haven't even went to our Facebook group, is notarygymsnetwork.com. I mean, not .com, Notary Gym Network on Facebook. And you can just get a lot of the nitty gritties that we talk about. So every Thursday we do lives and we just come in and talk about a lot of different things. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. And just show some Miss Laura some love. Okay? That's all.
Thank you.
Until next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.